You know, um, Usually when you think about a live concert, there's this expectation of a really simple transaction.
Right, like you buy a ticket, you stand in a room, and you watch.
Yeah, exactly. You clap and then everybody goes home. It's a closed loop.
Totally. It's contained entirely within that specific venue.
Right. But if you look at what is happening this exact weekend out in the California desert, that whole linear model is just completely shattered.
Oh, absolutely.
Because today is Saturday, April 18th, 2026. And, if you're tracking the cultural calendar, that puts us smack in the middle of Coachella weekend, too.
Which is a massive deal.
Yeah. I mean, you might just think of Coachella as a genre-spanning music and arts festival in India. You picture the Ferris wheel, the palm trees.
The dusty sunsets, right?
Yeah, exactly. But welcome to today's deep dive, where we're going to challenge that idea. Because we are pulling from some fascinating sources today.
We really are.
We've got excerpts from a YouTube channel called HOMELANDAi and an incredibly insightful article titled The Indio Phenomenon, Coachella's Global Cultural Engine.
And both of these sources argue that this festival has evolved into something vastly more complicated.
Right. They argue it's not just a festival anymore. It's a temporary city of sound and style that doubles as a real-time internet moment factory.
A global culture engine.
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive with you today is to unpack the fascinating psychological and performative differences between Weekend 1 and Weekend 2.
Because the contrast is wild.
It really is. To understand how a physical event in the desert doubles as this internet factory, we have to rewind the clock just a little bit to last week.
Right, to April 10th through the 12th, 2026, Coachella Weekend 1.
Yeah. And the HOMELANDAi breakdown describes this specific weekend as the ignition point.
I love that phrase.
Me too. They also call it the first reveal, and use this very specific term, cultural blueprints.
Cultural blueprints is so perfect because it really highlights the foundational nature of that first weekend. I mean, this is the moment where artists debut their full production.
Never before seen stage designs?
Exactly. Surprise guest appearances, entirely reworked set lists, and massive cinematic visuals. But the key here is that these visuals are built for both the crowd and the camera.
Right, which is a huge distinction.
It fundamentally rewires how an artist approaches the stage.
Well, the way I was thinking about it, reading through the notes, is that performing at Weekend 1 is essentially like jumping out of an airplane and having to sew your parachute on the way down.
That is a terrifying analogy, but yeah, it's accurate.
I mean, the source specifically mentions raw execution pressure, because up until that Friday night, artists are operating purely on instinct.
Right, without any safety net of an audience feedback loop.
Right. There's no data.
Exactly. And that distinct lack of a feedback loop is, it's what gives Weekend 1 its specific, unpredictable edge.
Because it's raw.
Yeah, the artist is executing their vision in a temporary vacuum. The physical crowd is reacting in real time, sure, but the internet is also discovering it simultaneously.
Which is why Weekend 1 dictates the entire year's festival aesthetic.
Oh, totally.
Like, the sources explicitly say these are the fits, the outfits that will be copied, these are the performances that will trend.
It's all happening for the first time.
But wait, if Weekend 1 is this raw execution in a vacuum, how does that explosion actually reach the rest of the world?
Well, it requires the lens of the internet.
Right, which completely changes the nature of the festival. Because Coachella is no longer just attended. According to the sources, it is a global broadcast product.
The global broadcast product, the sheer mechanics of that are staggering.
Yeah, performances are clipped, shared, and literally dissected globally within minutes.
Minutes.
And YouTube carries the official live stream, offering 7 different live stage feeds simultaneously.
7 feeds. It's incredible.
But okay, let me push back on this premise for a second.
Sure, go for it.
Because when I read that detail, my immediate thought was, doesn't this completely dilute the magic of a live music festival?
How do you mean?
Well, if millions of people are just sitting on their couches watching across 7 flawless YouTube feeds, why put so much effort into the physical event? Like, if the primary consumer is just looking at a screen.
It's a valid question.
Well,
The logical assumption is that the broadcast ruins the physical magic. But the sources actually argue the exact opposite.
wait, really?
Yeah, they argue the at-home audience doesn't dilute the event at all. They are actually part of the momentum.
How interesting.
Yeah, this digital mass is exactly what turns certain sets into instant online mythology. The physical event provides the raw material, right? But the global dissection is the engine driving its cultural dominance.
So the people at home are the engine.
Exactly. And to understand this, the sources touch on this concept of the panopticon.
Right, the Canopticon of the Polo Club.
Yeah, where artists know they are constantly being watched, not just by the front row, but globally. It forces this massive, immediate global dissection.
Which naturally forces a change in how the artists behave.
Oh, completely.
And that creates this strange dynamic that rewires the entire festival by the time the following Friday rolls around.
Which brings us to Weekend 2, right now, April 17th through the 19th, 2026.
We are in it. And according to the sources, the event shifts from feeling like a raw festival to a full-blown phenomenon.
A phenomenon that is part concert marathon and part fashion theater.
Fashion theater. I love that. And the source material refers to Weekend 2 as the deluxe edition.
The deluxe edition, yeah. The machine is fully warmed up at this point.
The stagecraft is tighter.
The surprises are sharper.
And the crowd knows what spectacle to expect. But, you know, when I read about this, I couldn't help but like Weekend 2 to a tech company releasing a software patch.
Oh, like a version 1.1 patch.
Exactly. Imagine releasing an app just days after launch, based entirely on real-time bug reports and, like, Reddit complaints from the users.
That's a great way to look at it. And it highlights the unique psychological stakes for the performers.
Right, because they know the internet is watching.
Yeah, watching specifically to see how they adapt. Because a really powerful feedback loop has occurred over the week.
Fans have been debating outfits online,
Ranking the surprise guests.
dissecting the set designs.
And the performers use this exact data for upgrades. They use it for pivots and redemption arcs.
Redemption arcs, that's so intense.
It really is. It's no longer about surprise. It's entirely about execution and intent. They are leaning into the pressure of delivering that refined deluxe product.
Because it's the exact same desert, but the stakes are higher.
The reactions are louder.
The timing is better, there are fewer mysteries and a lot more intent.
Exactly.
But, you know, with the festival being so deeply intertwined with its digital broadcast and these online feedback loops, it really begs a massive question.
Which is...
Well, what about the people who actually buy a ticket?
Oh.
Why stand in the California desert if the internet is the main event?
This is a crucial point, and the Indio Phenomenon article digs right into it. It explains why Coachella still matters to attendees.
Because it's not just about hearing music anymore.
No, not at all. Indio becomes this temporary cultural capital.
Right.
Where sound, image, fashion, status, fandom, and shareability all just completely collide at once.
People go for the lineup, sure, but they also go for the aesthetic. Or, and this is my favorite quote, they go because missing Coachella is like missing the internet in real life.
Missing the internet in real life. It's such a brilliant way to put it.
It really is. The event is essentially a giant stage for memory making and identity performance.
My elective spectacle.
But let me ask you this, because I really latched onto the phrases fashion theater and identity performance.
Mm-hmm.
If the real product is the live stream, I have to ask you and the listener to ponder this. Have the physical attendees themselves basically become unpaid cast members in this massive content factory?
That is a very cynical but very fascinating way to frame it.
Right. Like you pay to be a background extra.
Well, to synthesize the core takeaway from the sources, whether someone goes for the music or to show off an outfit or just to signal their status, their physical presence is absolutely vital.
So they aren't just props.
No, they aren't just an audience.
Yeah.
They are an active, necessary part of the collective spectacle that the rest of the world is watching.
Wow.
Yeah. As the article states, all are valid. Hydration is still recommended.
Hydration is still recommended. That's amazing.
It really perfectly captures the reality of standing in the desert while participating in a global broadcast.
It really does. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, let's just briefly recap the journey these sources took us on.
Let's do it.
We looked at how Coachella transforms from this raw, unpredictable blueprint of Weekend 1.
Right, the ignition point.
Yeah, into the highly calibrated, internet-optimized deluxe edition of Weekend 2.
Where the sequel arrives with notes.
Exactly. So for you listening, the takeaway here is that the next time you're scrolling past a viral festival clip, don't just look at the artist.
Yeah, look at the crowd.
Recognize the incredibly complex feedback loop of sound, fashion, and shareability that's happening right there in real time.
It is a masterclass in cultural engineering.
It absolutely is. Which leaves me with one final provocative thought for you to chew on before we go.
Oh, lay it on us.
If an entirely physical event is now meticulously molded, edited, and upgraded based on real-time internet feedback,
Right.
at what point does the online audience actually become the director of the live show?
Wow.
Are we just turning these artists into avatars, completely controlled by the crowd watching from home?
That is a wild thought to leave on.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
Until next time, keep diving deep.